Hello everyone. Thank you all for watching the video. Wishing you all good health and peace. The morning broke gently over the mountains, a veil of mist softening the jagged peaks. Lytuca stirred as the first rooster crowed, its call sharp against the hush of dawn. She rose, her bare feet brushing the cool earth floor of their bamboo house, and knelt by the hearth. Her hands, rough from years of labor, fed twigs to the fire, coaxing flames that flickered like hesitant hopes. A pot of rice porridge simmered, its steam curling upward, a quiet offering for her daughter Han, who slept in the corner, nestled under a quilt patched with care. Tien, her husband, was already gone. His silhouette long vanished into the fog with a bundle of banana leaves for their chickens. The day stretched ahead, heavy with tasks, yet Lytuca's heart carried a faint unease, like a pebble lodged in a stream's flow. Their home teetered on a hillside, its walls woven from bamboo and dreams too stubborn to fade. Each day Lytuca gathered eggs from their flock or bundled greens for the market, her step steady on trails worn smooth by time. Tien toiled beside her, clearing brush or mending fences around their garden, where they sowed seeds for a future less lean. Han, barely 3, trailed them, her small hands tossing scraps to the ducks, her laughter a spark in the grind of survival. Lytuca watched her, a smile softening her lips, but her eyes held a quiet weight. She thought of days when fever gripped her, when Han's teething cries pierced the night, when Tien's absence left her to carry their world alone. Those memories lingered, stitched into her resilience like threads in a worn cloth. That morning a fever clung to Lytuca, a dull ache behind her eyes. She moved slowly, tying her conical hat, its straw frayed from countless rains. Han toddled near, her cheeks flushed from teething, yet her giggle rang clear as she chased a stray chick. Tien returned, his shirt damp with dew, a basket of banana leaves slung over his shoulder. He glanced at Lytuca, his voice low, tinged with concern. "You're burning up. Rest today, Han needs you." "I'll manage," she murmured, her gaze flickering to him, searching for the steadiness he'd promised since his return. "The eggs need selling." They worked together, gathering eggs from the coop, their hands brushing in the rhythm of shared labor. Han scampered between them, tossing leaves to the chickens, her joy a fragile shield against their weariness. But as they sorted the eggs, some cracked, some perfect, Tien's face grew shadowed. He spoke, his voice rough like gravel underfoot. "I was too harsh with Mother last time. I keep thinking, she might not let us be." Lytuca paused, her fingers tightening around an egg, its shell cool against her palm. She remembered that day, weeks ago, when Milan had stood in their yard, her words sharp as thorns, her eyes cold with old grudges. She blamed Lytuca for Tien's past, driven her and Han into the rain when Han was a newborn. Tien had defended them, his anger a wall, but the rift with his mother lingered, a wound unhealed. Lytuca felt it too, a knot of resentment, yet a flicker of hope that peace might mend what words had broken. "I'll go to her," Tien said, his eyes meeting hers, steady but heavy. "I'll take eggs, say I'm sorry for shouting. We need this settled, for Han, for us." Lytuca nodded, her throat tight. "Take the best ones. Let her see we mean no harm." The day unfolded, slow and warm, the sun climbing above the hills. Lytuca stayed home, her fever a dull pulse, tending Han as the child napped fitfully. She swept the floor, the broom's rhythm a quiet chant, her thoughts drifting to Tien's journey. Would Milan soften, or would her pride bar the way? Lytuca didn't know, but she felt the weight of their choice. A step toward healing, or a risk of new scars. Tien set out at noon, a basket of eggs cradled under his arm, their shells gleaming like small promises. The path wound down the mountain, past streams that gurgled like secrets, past fields where buffalo grazed under a sky bruised with clouds. Milana's house stood in the valley, its brick walls stark against the green, a world apart from their bamboo haven. Tien paused at the gate, his heart a tangle of guilt and resolve. He remembered his mother's visits to the prison, her hands trembling as she passed him rice, her silence about Lytuca and Han. He'd lashed out before, his words a fire that burned them both. Now he sought to douse it. Milan opened the door, her face lined, her eyes wary but softer than he'd expected. She gestured him inside, her voice gruff. "Come to scold me again?" "No," Tien said, setting the eggs on the table, their weight a quiet offering. I came to say I was wrong to speak to you like that. I was angry, Mother, but I didn't mean to hurt you. The room grew still, the air thick with unspoken truths. Milana's hands trembled as she touched the eggs, her fingers tracing their curves. She spoke, her voice low, fraying at the edges. I wasn't kind to Tucie or your girl. I thought she'd ruined you, Sin. I was wrong, but I was your mother, still am. Can't we leave that behind? Sin's jaw tightened, memories of lytuca's struggles flashing through him. Her nights rocking Han, her days hauling baskets, her silence that hid so much pain. He saw Han's fevered face, her small hands clutching lytuca's shirt. But he saw too his mother's loneliness, her life now tied to a stranger's wealth, her pride a brittle shield. He breathed deep, his voice steady. I'm sorry for my words, Mother. But Tucie, she's carried us through. These eggs are for you, to strengthen you. We want peace, not grudges. Milana's eyes glistened, a flicker of relief breaking through. She nodded, her voice soft. Your wife's sick, isn't she? And the little one teething? Keep them close, Sin. I've a new life now, a man who provides, but it's empty without you. Take care of your own. Sin stayed a while, sharing tea, the silence between them less jagged. He spoke of Han's laughter, of the garden's first sprouts, of lytuca's quiet strength. Milan listened, her face softening, a mother again, if only for a moment. When he left, he carried medicine for lytuca and Han, bought with the eggs' earnings, and a promise to visit again. The path home felt lighter, though questions lingered like mist on the hills. Lytuca waited, her fever easing as dusk fell. She sat by the hearth, Han asleep in her lap, the fire's glow painting their faces in warmth. Sin returned, his steps heavy but his eyes bright. He set the medicine down, his hand brushing hers, a silent vow. She took the eggs, he said, his voice low. I said I was sorry. She wishes us well. Lytuca looked at him, her heart a weave of relief and doubt. She thought of Milan, of the eggs now in her hands, of the years that had carved them apart. Peace was a fragile thing, like a chick breaking through its shell, alive but not yet strong. She wondered if Milana's heart had truly softened, or if time would unravel this truce. She wondered too about herself. Could she let go of the nights spent alone, the ache of betrayal, or would they linger shadows in her dreams? Han stirred, her small hand reaching for lytuca's. The fire crackled, its light spilling across the room, touching the bamboo walls, the quilt, the medicine vial. Outside, the moon rose, a pale crescent over the hills, its glow tracing the path Sin had walked. Lytuca tucked Han closer, her touch gentle, her eyes distant. Tomorrow she'd rise, fever or not, to gather eggs, to walk the market trail, to build their life anew. Sin would mend the coop, Han would laugh, and the days would unfold, steady as the stream below. But in her heart, a question hung delicate as moonlight. Would this peace hold, or would it slip through their fingers, like water through woven bamboo? She looked at Sin, his face softened by the fire, and saw not just the man who'd faltered, but the one who'd returned, who'd knelt to mend what was broken. She looked at Han, her future a seed yet to bloom. For them she'd carry on, but what shape would that future take? The night deepened, stars pricking the sky. Lytuca stepped outside, the air cool against her skin. The village slept, its houses dark, the hills silent. She gazed down the path, where Sin had gone and come back, where Milan might one day walk again. The moon watched, quiet, knowing. Lytuca stood, letting the stillness hold her, a breath before dawn's demands.